Hello everyone, welcome back to another War of the Visions video. Today we're going to be talking about my account, which I've had for some amount of days since the release of the game, and I haven't done a progress update in a while, so I thought we'd do that. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about elemental resistance versus the innate strength of elements versus each other, certain units versus each other. So I actually have some examples and some data here for you, and I have to shout out Prodijee, who is a YouTuber and a War of the Visions streamer, who actually gave me the screenshots confirming all of the calculations. And he actually just released a War of the Visions podcast on YouTube with a couple of other players, and it's called Let's Talk Tactics, a War of the Visions podcast. I'm going to put a link to that in the description below, and then you can go support him, give him a sub, and check out the podcast, because it's going to be super interesting, unique perspective of some very competitive PvP players and how they think about the game. So definitely check that out. Okay, moving on into the actual data here. So first we have to talk about what is the element multiplier and what is the unit element weakness, and I have this from the War of the Visions wiki. So what everybody thought when I said, oh, well, Delita's strong against ice, people thought, well, Micity is saying that Flare is an ice spell, and I definitely wasn't saying that. My wording was poor, it was live, so it was kind of hard to think about how I was going to say that, but basically what I was saying was that Delita just has protection against ice units no matter what they're doing. Even if it's not an ice attack, he still has protection against them, and we're going to explain how that all works. So the element multiplier is what you have when you have, for example, the coral sword gives lightning attack up. Well, that's going to give lightning attack, or sorry, it's going to give 30 attack to whatever lightning skill is used by someone with that sword. So it's not going to affect Orlando's normal attack, because that's not lightning. It's not going to affect a non-elemental skill. It has to have that lightning icon on it for it to get that lightning attack. And similarly, the damage is going to be reduced from a lightning attack by someone that has a positive lightning resistance. So this is the whole resistance system that I think everybody's very familiar with. And in the case of somebody using Flare, if they had any type of resistance, elemental resistance, it wouldn't matter, because Flare is non-elemental, which is why it makes such a powerful spell. However, there is also a unit element weakness / strongness, and I call this the innate resistance that units have together. So we're going to read right off this little prompt here. If attacker's elemental attribution is effective to that of the target, its multiplier is 1.25. That means you're going to do 25% more damage to elements that you're strong against. So in the case of Delita, he's going to do 25% more damage to ice units. And he's going to take 75% of damage from ice units. And the important thing about this element weakness strongness is it just works. It doesn't apply to any sort of elemental attacks. It's just if an ice unit does damage to a fire unit, it will be times by 0.75, so it's going to do 25% less. So that applies to normal attacks, that applies to Flare, that applies to Blizzard, all the same. When an ice unit attacks a fire unit, there is always going to be a 25% reduction in the damage. And this means that you actually have to build, if you have a negative 10% resistance to fire and you're an ice unit, you actually would have to build up a go up to a positive 25% resistance to fire to fully negate the unit element weakness strongness plus your elemental multiplier that you were already trying to compensate for. And I think this is a good thing, because this is actually going to kind of help unit stay counters. It means that Orlando's going to always have to worry about earth units, that he can't completely wipe out that weakness, or that if you use a tank like Mont, now that Orlando has the coral sword and is doing even more damage, that you can kind of hopefully fight against that a little bit better. So it's definitely an interesting thing, but it's not something that everybody knew about. So I just wanted to clarify that's what I was talking about, and I have the examples here from Prodijee that we're going to look at. So here we have Medina that is doing Flare to Adelard, okay? Now Flare is non-elemental and Adelard is a fire unit. And you can see there is a resist symbol there. And the damage is 2,688. Now Medina is also going to cast Flare on Selir. And Selir is going to take more damage. She's taking 3,587. So you can see the comparison here that Selir takes more damage for Flare. Well, luckily Prodijee also sent me his stats. I guess not luckily, he planned this. And you can see that Adelard has 2 spirit and that his magic resistance is 15%, his magic attack resistance. And that Selir also has 2 spirit and her magic attack resistance is 15%. And in this case, Adelard's 15% ice resistance doesn't matter because Flare is non-elemental. So why did Adelard take 25% less damage? And yes, you can do the math. You can divide 2,688 by 3,587 and you're going to be able to round up to 75%. It roughly works out. So this is the unit element weakness and strongness in action, the innate multiplier that happens when elements interact. You can see it in effect right here. So just wanted to clarify that. I think it's really good information for people to have. And if you have any feedback or comments on that, then you know where to post. Alright, so it's time to take a look at my account and you can see that I've still got Delita here. Now, you all know that I pulled for Agrius because I thought that she would improve my account, but I was also super interested in Ildrya, and I was going to pull for her on my alt that has about 40k Visior, and before I did that I thought to myself, well, I'm going to go ahead and just do 2 pulls for Ildrya on my main account. And lo and behold, I pulled her on my very first pull. So 2k spent, I was able to pull her, and looks like I can have it both ways. So she's the newest addition to my account, and obviously I'm pretty thrilled about it because I really did want her. I just thought that in the end that Agrius was going to be better. So let's take a look at my progress so far. So you've kind of seen a look at all my units already if you look at the Should Mysidia Pull video, but we'll still take a look. I've been working on Ramada here now that I've max awakened her, and she's at LB4, which is really quite exciting. We're just going to filter this by level so we can speed this up. No, not that way! Why is it always ascending by default? Get out of town. Okay, this is getting away from me quickly. All right, and voila. So we've got Delita maxed. That is something that I was working on that last video. Then I have my Ramza and everything, and I've got lots of different units that are maxed for their TMRs, but my main gang is the 3 right here. Delita, Ramza, and Victoria. Of course, you all know that I love my Ryryu, but I was also able to get Mustadio to LB4, and I left him there, so he's going to be a new gunner that I can try for my status effect video, which we'll do at some point. And then otherwise, I've also got my Lilith to LB4, and you can see that I've got my Kalem squad here that are maxed limit broken, the Balo and the Liarte, but they just need some rainbow rocks, which I am not ready to give them yet. So that is something that I am going to do in the future, but you can see right here, Ramada, Lilith, and Mont, we're ready to go for Kalem PvP. That's going to happen at some point, and I've got some fun video ideas for the 3 of them. And then otherwise, my Dario, I was lucky enough to pull a dupe for him, so we're hopefully gonna get him. So next, I think it's next Monday, not the one coming up in a few days, that I'm going to be able to LB for him, and then again I'm going to put him right into the PvP rotation as well and try to do some magic tanky stuff. And then otherwise we've got Ildrya here, and I've already LB3'd her, and I've awakened her to max, and I kept saying to you in videos that once I pulled a unit, I was ready to invest a little in the game, more than I do normally, which is $10 a month. And I didn't have to for Delita because they gave us shards so easily. But for Eldraya, I was low on Visior, I was low on Rainbow Rocks, so I actually did go ahead and I guess maybe I'm a Dolphin now. I spent the $109 on the 5,000 Visior paid plus 5,000 Visior free, and then I used that paid Visior to get the Rainbow Rocks to awaken her, and then I've just been buying shards. So I guess I don't know what that makes me, but maybe I'm a Dolphin now. I don't plan on doing that again for a long time, but I just thought I've been playing this game so much that might as well put some money in. So that's what I've done. I've got all their jobs up to level whatever it is that it's, I guess 12, and I've been working on her skills so that I can start using her in farming and get that sweet resonance up. So what I do is I always get all the skills up to 10 that are super relevant, then I start getting them all to 15, and then I pick the most important skill to me and I raise that to 20, and then I do the next skill that I think is important, and then the next one, I kind of forgot to do her reaction though, so I'm going to work on that later, but magic up is what I'm going to work on first, and then I'm going to do her water gun holy, and then probably her height based water, and then the healing, and then at that point, once they're all 15, I'm going to try her out in PvP, but hopefully I'm going to be able to get her to LB4 very soon, and then I can really give her a go, and then we'll see what we can do before the end of the event. We're very lucky to have the JP up on the featured units now, and also just the JP quest, but I am leaving jobs that I'm not going to try right away. I'm gonna leave them locked, and then I'll get those later on when I focus my skills up, and that's the reason I'm doing this all, is just so I can get her out as soon as possible and then put her into some videos and see how that all goes. So that's a unit update, looking pretty sweet. Thank you for your compliments. You're all probably typing in right now, wow, Mysidia units look so good. As for equipment, nothing really new. I tried to work on a golden armor, but I started so late that I only got a +4, and I have a lot of materials to make a second +4, but I'm not quite there. So we'll see where that goes. The jump from +4 to +5 is ridiculous. You get an extra 4 slash resist, so you definitely want this. If you're gonna build more than a +1 or 2, just go all the way to +5. So I'll definitely be working on that when I get a chance. And then otherwise, I actually have the full mats required to make my platinum mace, except for the books. So I can make my platinum mace here. Actually, I need 60 more of the sap here. I can make my platinum mace for Eldraya as soon as I get those books, and maybe I'll use the exchange shop for those. Otherwise, espers, you know from my pull videos that I've been just stupidly lucky with pulling espers lately. So my death machine is looking really good. I've been working on my golem. I'm reluctant to change the expedition. I'm just gonna keep it on where it is and kind of farm event tokens and the extra increase that rate on the XL for light magicite, and as well as the all the Mog medals I'm getting from, you know, pulling extra Ramses and extra Delitas. But then I'm going to work on Golem. I'm going to get him to the second awakening, and then I'll be able to do some really tanky compositions. But because I'm getting all this light magicite, I've been working on my two-headed dragon, which is awesome. So he or she or both is maybe very close there to the awakening, and then at some point maybe I'll do my red chocobo, but otherwise things are looking real good for old Mysidia. I'll have to say that for sure. The one thing with espers that I kind of blew is at the very beginning of the game, and some of you might not even know this is a thing, as soon as you unequipped an esper from somebody and gave them a different one, their resonance with the first esper would start going down. Now, this is really dumb and was unfair, so it was patched like not even a month after release. I missed that patch note. I did not know that was a thing. So I found out maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I basically had everybody on one esper, and I always thought like, oh, I can't take Iron Giant off Ramza, so I have to give, you know, Lilith the zoo or something, and it was just so silly. So since then, I've been training all of my units on multiple espers, and everybody now can use 2 to 3 espers, something like that. And we're working on it, but a lot of ground to catch up. It's really opening up my build possibilities, which is very cool. Now, if only the respec for the esper grid didn't cost Visior, then we could really do some fun stuff with that. Okay, last thing we'll talk about is the vision cards, which again, on my new emulator settings is not sorted properly. So I decided to work on my Blades of Grass. I got it to 3 stars, and then otherwise I had a very unfortunate experiment with this card where I wasn't sure how this defense debuff resistance worked, because I was hoping that it would stop things like Orlando's Crush Armor. And what it does is this gives you a 25% chance that the Crush Armor is going to be entirely negated, like 100% negated. So normally a maxed Crush Armor takes 25 defense off of a unit and it can go into the negative. So I thought, oh, if this just like cancels out the 25 with 25, then, you know, that's going to help out a lot. But no, that's not how it works, and I'm pretty dumb. It's just a 25% chance, and I can go higher, but there's no way. I already hated myself for building this card because I just hate this artwork, and it reminds me of the worst story event that's ever been put into a gacha. And then otherwise, there's not a lot going on with cards besides that. So I wanted to do more with the red chocobo, but I already have the Shadowbringers card, which also gives light attack up. So I figured, you know, I'll just wait for Shadowbringers to come back, and then I'll work on this one again for my Ramza, for my light party. All right, so I think that's pretty much it. Haven't done anything else of note on this account, but it is definitely getting pretty stacked, because I've got 2 new units, Delita and Eldryad, that are going to be impactful in my PvP experience. So very exciting. So we're gonna wrap up there, but you can tell me about your accounts, because I want to know how this last kind of period went for you. I've already heard from so many of you about tactics, but now you got to tell me about Eldryad. Tell me what you're crafting, how the new guild battle maps going, etc. in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So with that said, we'll see you next time.